Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken Happiness Now global series. So glad you are here with us, whether you're live or whether you are watching on the replay. If you are watching on the replay, please do subscribe to my channel on YouTube so that you can take advantage of all the current shows, all the previous shows, all the shows coming up. It is my deepest desire, wish, and intention to bring these amazing speakers here who are sharing their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healings, their channelings, their readings, etc., so that we could all thrive and so that we can all awaken to happiness now. And today we have our dear friend Catherine back with us, and we're going to be talking about authentic visibility. And so Catherine was with us last season, I think it was, and we just absolutely loved having her here, loved the energy, the high vibe, the messages that the guides brought through. So it's like, oh, I'm so excited about what they're going to bring through today. And so some of what we're going to touch on today is the concept around developing a secure sense of self that enables you to create that which is aligned and perfect for you. We're going to talk about anchoring your authentic self so that you open the doors to empowered speech, thoughts, and action. And we're going to talk also about through connecting with your heart, you will act with potency and love, upholding the integrity of your values, and some common fears and the root of these fears that may prevent you from being authentically visible to yourself, others, and the multiverse. Now, this is an experiential conversation. And so, as Catherine is going to be sharing her wisdom, she's also going to be sharing and transmitting frequencies as well, energetic frequencies. So, be willing to receive. And for those of you who may not know Catherine, like I said, she was here with us last season. She is a sacred architect and channel of infinite knowledge and divine love magic, working with sensitive creators, healers, leaders, and change makers who want to connect to their truth, amplify their mastery, bring their unique voice forward. She creates a sacred, committed, nourishing environment, the activating separation patterns to expansive, multidimensional, authentic self-expressions and empowering efficient, light-embodied connections, impact, and resources, integrating psychotherapeutic understanding with refined connection to Thoth, aligning and activating an experiential sense of the inner God goddess. So we are so excited that Catherine is here with us again with her guides. So please do join me in welcoming Catherine back to the show. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you. It's
Oh,
lovely to
I know
welcome.
this is a big topic, but yes, I'm so glad that you're here
Yeah.
with us to share. I wanted to ask you really quickly, Catherine. I could be wrong, but um, were you just in traveling recently in India, Tibet, that area?
Yes, I was. Yes, I've just returned a couple of weeks ago from Tibet. I was, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, fascinating. That's something I've always wanted to do, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I definitely have to ask her about that." How was it?
Yes. It was an amazing trip. Yeah, I traveled a with a tour leadist, Jinang, and yeah, it was extraordinary. It was really, really extraordinary. Like for me personally, there were lots of kind of inner shifts, and then on a kind of more download, piece in terms of the work that I bring forward, I received kind of quite a few gems and openings to really deepen the work that I bring forward. So yeah, and it was beautiful. We walked around Mount Kailash, and that's a spiritual
Yeah.
pilgrimage. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's what I saw, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've always wanted to do that. It's my I guess you could say number one or number two bucket list item. So like
oh
it's
wow.
at the top there.
Yeah, okay.
So
Well, then I would encourage you to follow that bucket list. And yeah,
yes, yes, absolutely. So I'm
yeah.
glad that you went and you brought, had, received information, downloads, etc., because all of that is going to inform how you move forward in your life and in your teachings with your clients and community as well, right?
That's absolutely 100%. No, it's absolutely deepened what I'm bringing forward, particularly the programs I've been working on for a couple of years that are going to
Mhm.
kind of that I'm placing on the order for next year.
Okay,
So,
awesome. Great. I'm looking forward
yeah,
to it. Looking forward to
yeah,
see what comes through.
yeah,
How
yeah.
exciting. So we were talking about authentic visibility, right? And that is a huge topic that I think this is something that you could talk about over and over again, like forever, because let's face it, some of us are still hiding. Some of us are still not sharing our gifts and our light with everyone as freely or as openly as we could. And I think some of us may still be in fear, doubt, judgment, and even sometimes a little bit of shame, right, around showing up. So this is a huge topic. I'm glad we're talking about it again. But before we do that, I just wanted to reiterate to everyone as well that when we are having this conversation, it's not just words that you are speaking. You are actually transmitting frequencies and energy. Is that right?
100% right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's always frequency and energy in the background. And as I speak, as I speak, like as Catherine, there's energy and frequency coming through because the guides are
Right.
present, Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And when you are speaking as the guides, there's even more. It's like it's more intense or more powerful type of transmission, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Wonderful. Let's get started. I want you to, if you can, just share a little bit again with us, a little bit about what authentic visibility means and how that can help us on our path, on our journey, and in our spiritual growth and awareness and expansion.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of wondering where to dive in because, as you say, like it's a huge topic. But at its simplest form, authentic visibility is being yourself and being in the process, and it's that process of finding yourself or being yourself that, in a way, enables visibility to become a way of being. Like as we get to know ourselves more and more and more, and are willing to be truthful with ourselves of who we are and what we want and need and require and how to be in, what we want to speak out and what our truth essentially is, but essentially at that core of who we are, then it's then coming from that place. So we create from that place. We have relationships from that place. And it almost becomes a non-negotiable that we are ourselves.
But
Yeah.
go ahead.
And yeah. And I was also going to bring in that, like, on a kind of everyday, more plain view, like how you might term it in a kind of more three-dimensional, say, way, is aligning to your values, staying in integrity with yourself, being truthful with yourself and others, speaking out and saying what needs to be said in the moment that is aligned for you and for who you're with. Yeah, and then if you're wanting to kind of step more into your what is called the gifts and talents, that you spoke about, people kind of like still feeling hiding and feel shame around it or feel scared to actually go, actually, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's like, again, it's being really knowing yourself so that it's just a natural step to allow that to shine through.
But when you talk about being ourselves, being yourself, that really means being yourself without um, the barriers or the walls or the veils around yourself, right? Without or even without disempowering belief systems, right?
Absolutely. So there is that process of unpacking the things that are not you. So those are
Yes.
often belief systems that are often triggered by experiences that have emotional overlays, and then the mind comes in and creates a story around the experience that then becomes a reality. And it is unpacking that and recognizing that it's not really the truth. And finding a way to either dismantle it or have it softened so that it doesn't play out in your life in the same way that it might have. There was a deepening of that. So in my meditation with Toth, I kind of went a bit deeper into the topic with him in preparation for this call. And there's a way in which when as we remember the truth of who we are, as we remember ourselves, and enough of that unpacking has been done, that it then becomes as much amplifying that light that is within. So amplifying this authenticity as it does about unpacking. because I think we can get caught in a cycle of unpacking and then unpacking again and then unpacking again. And then it can feel never ending. So we never actually step out
Yes,
because we don't feel like we've found
absolutely.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and that's what I always say. It's like, yes, do the healing, clearing work, but at the same time, live your life.
Mm.
Step out, do what calls to you, follow your heart, follow your passions, etc. And then when stuff comes up in the way, then work on the healing, clearing, recognizing that okay, this is still blocking me or whatever, right? But we must continue to live. We must continue to express ourselves and express that divinity within outwardly in our reality. So we always have to be, I think, showing up, stepping up the best we can, even though it's uncomfortable, right? It's very uncomfortable. I mean, people think that it must be so easy for me because I do these shows and other calls and so on. Yeah, in a way, but it took me a long time to get to this point where I could feel comfortable to express myself and not worry about what will people think. Right? So it took a lot of work and a lot of courage. So showing up, stepping up takes a lot of courage. And that courage, though, is within.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the process of stepping up often will unpack what needs to unpack. It'll often drop away
Yes.
because you've actually done the action, and the action itself is the healing work. It is what
Oh,
it
I
is.
love that. And it's, I just want to say sometimes that alone is enough. Action or awareness is enough that you don't need to do major healing, clearing work. Sometimes just that. And I mean, I totally agree with that. 'Cause I had aha about something just the other day. I'm like, oh, oh my goodness, that was a big awareness, right? And it's like, okay, so now that I have this awareness, do I still need to do healing, clearing? No, I got it. I got the message. I got the awareness. I'm good, right? So sometimes, because in the olden days, I say olden days, but 30 years ago, whatever, when we first all started on this healing journey, most of us, we were doing major healing work, right?
Yeah.
And it's shifted now. I think we're a lot brighter and smarter now that we can catch ourselves pretty quick in some
Yeah.
areas, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the guides are talking more and more about that. They're talking more and more about let's amplify the light within, and then and take action,
Yes.
create, go forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You must take action. You must create. You must go forward. You can't just think about it. You can't just be in your head about it. And you know, if you fall flat on your face, you fall flat on your face and you get up and you do it again differently. Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
I've done that many times. So I know. That's why I can say that I've done it, so I know. But it's like it takes courage. But I think a lot of times, I know we're totally off topic, but a lot of times people are get stuck in the getting ready to get ready to get ready to show up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we're off topic. I think it's actually very on topic. Because the essence of all of this is having the courage to be ourselves. And some of that is finding ourselves, and so, through kind of introspection and meditation and healing, and some of it is finding ourselves through action. Some of it is finding ourselves through relationships. So there are lots and lots and lots of there are lots of ways and pathways to experience ourselves, either in shadow and the gritty bits, or in truth and radiance.
Mm.
Um, and so that sense of like, I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready, actually can be the thing that can be profoundly limiting in terms
Yeah.
of having that experience of, oh goodness, this is who I am. And it doesn't really matter if we make mistakes. It doesn't matter if we have a relationship. I mean, it's not that it doesn't matter. It's more that we really find ourselves in the experiences that we experience. Yeah, and we're always micro adjusting. We're always in that
Yes.
process of unveiling the truth of who we are to some level or other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. And I always call it. I'm always tweaking myself. It's like tweaking what I'm going to do, tweaking who I'm going to be, tweaking how I'm going to show up. I mean, I'm not perfect at all, and so sometimes, just that tweaking bit. people might look at it as, oh, you're being so hard on yourself. You're like, you're judging yourself. I'm like, no, I'm not. I have full awareness of what I'm doing and who I am. And if I'm tweaking, it's because there's some sort of, sometimes there's a lack within us, that we
Mm.
want to correct or fix or just be aware of so that we can, move forward, right? And so that moving forward in life, I don't know why I'm getting like so emotional. I've had an emotional day. I'll be honest. I had a healing session earlier, and so much stuff came up. And so it's
Okay.
like, as we are speaking about, authentic visibility, it also means being vulnerable, right? Being honest and vulnerable in your life with your community and colleagues, relationships, right? Especially, we learn so much from each other. And if we're willing to learn from each other and be vulnerable and receive the awarenesses and ahas and the messages we're getting, it'll be easier for us to take that next step in showing up.
Yeah, I think what you're pointing to, like the guides are semi-present, like they're about 30% in. What you're starting to point to is that when you are vulnerable, that's a heart opening process. So you're opening your heart to that truth that's coming through. And by opening your heart to the truth that's coming through, even if it's a kind of piece of yourself that you might feel uncomfortable with or have felt uncomfortable with, it starts to create like a natural healing process within yourself because of the heart openness that vulnerability essentially is. And the other piece of that is when you do it in relationship, that creates like a heart connection between yourself and the other individuals that you're with. And that in
Yes.
itself amplifies that healing process. And it's for everyone because everyone receives a piece of that kind of therapeutic or that healing process because it's likely that they actually have that experience within as well.
Hmm. As soon as you said that, it's like sometimes we may not be aware that we have that same experience in this level or where we're all right now, but we may have had it in other realities or other lives, not gonna go like past lives, ancestral, etc. We're still connected to that, right? So even though we may think, oh, this is irrelevant to me, I don't, I'm fine with this, I don't, but we can still choose to receive the healing for all the different parts of us that we're unaware of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes that you can think about that as just other lifetimes, other realities, other dimensions that are actually receiving it and you may not be aware of it, or you may be. Yeah.
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 Oh, my goodness. Like I'm already like loving this conversation, even though we haven't gotten like I'm not even following the points or anything that we're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So when
It's okay. It's all relevant.
however you want to move forward with this, I'm gonna let you lead, and especially like if the guides are have joined and want to take over, I'm totally fine.
Okay, sure. That's beautiful. I look, I actually feel like the topic is so big that the essence of this is actually finding yourself and being yourself. That is the essence of it. And then, so I'm starting to let the guides come through. So, we love this conversation very, very much. We feel like this is the key to unpacking this topic of authentic visibility. For authenticity is being yourself. It is knowing yourself. It's knowing yourself at a very deep level. And once you know yourself at a very deep level, then it's very, very, very natural to be visible with that, whether it's through speaking or through action, through thought, through role modeling. It is a very natural process as you come to know yourself. So the key to authentic visibility is that sense of knowing yourself. Now, yes, there are many layers to knowing yourself. There can be many, many things that you need to unpack or that you feel that are blocking or are in the way of that sense of coming into a deep relationship with yourself. And that is also part of the process of authentic visibility. It's just shifting some of that. Now, if we take a deep dive into looking into this paradigm of consciousness that you call visibility, which is perhaps for many of you stepping into the spotlight, stepping into being and allowing others to see your potency, your gifts, your talents, that you have come onto the earth with a mission, that you have come onto the earth to contribute in a particular way. For many of you, it feels like lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes that you have incarnated onto the earth to do this mission. And now is the time. Now is the time to step forward and to do that which you have been in preparation for so long. And what is happening for some of you is that as you step forward, the past lives, the memories, the insecurities, the things that seemingly seem to happen in other lifetimes come to the surface. And they seem to, and what that does is it can often trigger fear, it can trigger self-doubt, it can trigger shame, it can trigger all those feelings, and that then stops you in your path. However, what we would say is that, yes, shift those things, allow them to dissolve, and we can do a little bit of kind of, kind of quick channeling around, you're bringing through some frequencies to support that process in this now moment. However, the other piece we would say is also remember that the essence of who you are is light and love. And if the essence of who you are is light and love, then the essence of who you are is truth. And you have that wisdom within. So even if you're taking what feels like small steps, you are making progress. And that progress brings in more light. And as more light comes in, that then enables the amplification of your light within. And that is the part that as you focus more and more and more on what is going well, on what is working, on where you are stepping forward, on the light that is coming in, that is what is going to lead you more and more and more to the truth of who you are, because you are light. So as you focus on that truth, that then supports you to have the courage to keep stepping forward, to keep walking the path. Catherine has just come back from Mount Kailash, and there's actually someone in this community who's online at the moment who is also on that journey. And that journey is essentially about taking one step after the other. And that one step after the other eventually leads to the top of the pass. Just as you take one step after the other in your life and focus on the light, focus on where you are going, that is what takes you to the destination, which ultimately is the destination of who you are. So we bring through some of this in light language because there are dimensions within you that will receive the light language almost more easily than you receive the English. So we speak to all those dimensions, which you can call parallel lives, past lives, cosmic selves, and we also bring through frequencies that support you to activate that sense of confidence in being visible, or or a sense of visibility as being kind of part of your path, that you're here to be seen. It is a given, you're here to be seen. That is a birthright, that is natural when you're born as a baby. One of the first things that a parent does, or a caregiver does, is they look at you. They take you in with their eyes. They see you. And that is one of the most important things that you receive in early childhood, is being seen for who you are. Seen as light, seen as love, seen in your beauty, seen in your magnificence. So at a very core level, being authentically visible, being willing to be visible, being willing to be yourself and be visible being yourself without the masks, is the process of being comfortable with being seen. And that na'asha titi ki arana ta aka e aka often arises na'asha ka aka I tiaraka in this lifetime, tiashana ka aka, as the experience, from the experience of truly being seen for who you are, te aka I aka, from infancy right through to adulthood. That creates a lot of confidence, a lot of strength, na'asha ki aka, to step forward as who you are. And when you haven't experienced that in this lifetime, and it will connect to other lifetimes, that can also create the sense of unconfidence or shame in being who you are. Tina a titi ka ake nei titiara ake. So some of this is healing work. Some of this is unpicking and unblocking tiashana ake. And some of the healing work is also receiving those codes of wisdom. Tina ashika ake, that you are seen. We see you. Tina ake, we see you as light and love. We see you as star beings. Na asu titi titara na ashika ake. So anywhere in your system where you have, anywhere in you where you have tia ashika ake not truly fully been seen for who you are, tina a titita ake ne tia, whether it's in this lifetime or other lifetimes, na asu tita ake ake, we invite you to receive from us our sight, to receive na asha titi ka aka aka ake ne titi ake, the truth that we see you. Tina a titi ake I ake, as light and love. We see your magnificence. We see your potency. Na asha titi tika ake ne tita ake ne titi aranata ake. Tia ake, and we invite anywhere where any of you na ashika ake ne tia ake wish to release any of the shame na asa titita ake ne tita ake ne tia ake, or emotional experiences na asa titi kinarana atata ka ake, that have stopped you from being seen, or that have carry within it that experience of shame. Tiana a titi tiarana ashika aka ake ne tia te titarana ta ake. So we'll pause there. There are many, many places and spaces in which, like, avenues that we could go down on this theme of authentic visibility to support you to feel really confident in being yourself and letting those masks drop off. Tina ata ake. And we would say we have loved the conversation. Everything that has come forward, na shika ake, so far is so on key with what we feel is relevant for this conversation with this community and for each of you.
Beautiful. Thank you. That was so moving. And as just what you said about, seeing you, seeing us, when we were not seen. I mean, I was not definitely not seen um, uh, from infancy, up until now, kind of thing. So just that aspect of somebody's looking at you and saying, I see you, I see who you are, I see what you are, I see that you are light and love. That is so powerful. That is so, it just, it fills my heart so much, because it's like, I think that's what we all want, is to be seen, to be recognized. And recognized meaning to, to see that we are light, we are love, and we are source, right? And that's what I mean by recognized. But it just see us for greater than our faults, our weaknesses, our personality. We're more than that, right? So just being able to know that we are being seen in that way it's so powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, we see you. And this is Catherine coming more to forefront. It is very powerful, and it is key, absolutely 100% key. And yeah, the next piece they were kind of on the verge of bringing through was around courage and heart opening. So yeah.
And courage and opening, just being willing to and being vulnerable to open your heart, that takes a lot of courage when we have been wounded, for example, or when we have been abused, or all sorts of stuff. Our heart's been broken, kind of thing, in many ways. So just having that courage to open our hearts again, or to allow our hearts to be seen, I think is incredibly powerful. And I think once we are able to allow someone to see our heart, see who we are, then it kind of like gives us permission to move forward. Before we get that seeing, I don't think we feel like we can move forward. Is that right? Or is there a piece to that might be right?
Yeah, no, I'll let the guides come through. Well, Toth is actually holding back, but so yes, Yes, my dear, this is so true. This is so true. The key of being seen and seen as light and love is key. And the next piece we wanted to bring through was around courage, around heart opening. For when you open your heart, that is one of the keys to being authentic. For the heart, wisdom carries the keys and codes of your truth. It carries the keys and codes of the light and love being that you are. For within the heart resides the soul, within the soul resides the divine light. As you have the courage to open your heart, have the courage to be vulnerable if that is part of your path, or in the moment. There are many forms of courage. There is the Sekhmet courage, the fiery courage, that courage to stand up and take action regardless. For as you are seen, this creates that natural heart opening. So just bring you through a few codes that are around heart opening and around courage. We know that none of you essentially are frightened. For you would not be here on this call if you were. You're all seekers. Having the courage to show up in a community like this. Is an indicator that you're well on your path. It is simply continuing on your path, allowing your heart to open to yourself. And we do see that many of you have veils. Or so there are veils over and the veils in a way stop you from seeing who you are. So they not only stop others from seeing you, they stop you from seeing you. So anywhere we just offer and place on the altar that if you would like some of the veils are a veil to be released, that is on the altar. And you can simply let it dissolve. And as it dissolves, there may be a sense of feeling a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more open. Because these veils they're there for a reason, or you've placed them there for a reason. Like, what's like a protection, to keep you from being hurt, from being, from being hurt, or from a sense of that you may not be accepted. So where that also relates to past lives, where you may have experienced being killed or hurt for speaking your truth at a time when there was less understanding of what the light and love is here to do, or what you were here to do. So just let any of that's ready and that you would like to release or dissolve, to dissolve. And then as that dissolves, and there may be that sense of openness, just bringing through some almost like stabilization frequencies, so that this new sense of self it begins to feel comfortable, begins to feel natural. But when you step more and more into being authentic, it can feel a little bit raw. And you can feel maybe a slightly disorientated for a few moments until you get used to the feeling and recognize that this is part of what you're seeking. So we'll just pause for a moment as more of those frequencies come in.
Yes, thank you. One of the things that you mentioned was around seeing ourselves, right? So when we are able to see ourselves more clearly, then we can see other people more clearly as well, right? So it's because
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to say, regardless of whether I can see myself or not, I have a pretty good idea about other people. But the truth is, when we have those veils still around us, or barriers, or walls, or whatever, where we're not able to see ourselves uh, in some ways, then our perception of other people is also colored by those triggers or wounds or beliefs, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the yeah, it can often come out as what's known as projection, where in something that's actually inside us, we see in someone else and don't realize that we're actually seeing ourselves. Um, yeah, then absolutely. And as we get to know ourselves and know the shadow as well as the light, know the places where there's still grit, um, it is so much easier to go to know, oh, okay, this is me, and that's the other person. And the other thing that also kind of happens is that there is that, that degree of like, this is me, that's the other person, but also the degree in which we can truly empathize. And I don't mean like
Yeah.
join another, but actually truly empathize and have a heart openness for another's experience increases, because we can hold our own sovereignty. We know who we are, and we can stay heart open to another person having an experience that may be challenging for them at the time, and stand alongside them, or just be with them, or recognize it. And it's coming from a place of heart openness, which really is true compassion or empathy, because we have a
Yeah.
sense of, yeah, and we may even have a sense of understanding because we might have experienced something similar, but we don't join them. That's the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it
Yeah.
can generate or create more authentic, I was going to say, compassion as well for them. It's not just the words, but it's truly deeply coming from the heart compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the basis of real relationship, of right relationship, is when we know who we are to such a degree, and we have freedom of choice around what we choose to do.
Yeah.
And also we manage our own feelings, emotions, kind of in a way that's aligned. Um, and when the other person is doing the same thing, then there creates this beautiful third space, which is the relationship. And then there's extraordinary magic that can happen between people and between communities. Um,
Oh, this is such a huge topic, like we said, but it's like it's so important for us to start to look at who we are, the light and the shadow. Like we cannot ignore the shadow parts of ourselves and expect to go far in our journey, in our path of consciousness expansion, etc. Right? We must look at both, and without judgment.
Absolutely, with love, with total love, and also knowing that those shadow aspects, like there's so many ways of looking at. One way is to look at it; it comes from an experience, and the experience was as it was, and it may not have been positive, and so that kind of creates a form of compassion for ourselves, or compassion for ourselves, but then at another level, at a deep level, um, it is light, densified.
Hmm.
Um, so it is shadow is an interesting term.
Yeah.
And the other is that as we work with it, it becomes the rocket fuel. It becomes the source of inspiration, of creativity, of enlightenment, because we unlock this extraordinary gift that experience, or that has become shadow, what we call shadow, bestows upon us.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. It's
That's giving me food for thought.
another big topic.
Exactly. But I mean, that is, I don't think I've ever looked at it that way, or has anyone spoken about it in that way, or I didn't hear it. Which is really interesting, because just like you said, the shadow art aspects of ourselves that we consider shadow anyways, um they are dense light. So they're still light. They're just denser forms of light that, once we shine more light on it, they come to the surface for us to be aware of, and so on. But rocket fuel for growth and change, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. I will look at it in private. I have time to look at it, but it just gives me, it's kind of giving me like a different take on some of my quirks that I find, not great. But if I can use that as rocket fuel to move me into the next level of myself, or just into greater expansion of myself and my journey and my path, then it's a good thing. It can be a good
Yeah,
thing.
it's a beautiful thing. Someone that I walked with on the in Tibet, around Mount Kailash, I felt that she had a really beautiful way of speaking about it, which was that like we're born with a kind of droplet of divine bliss from our parents, and that the dang, or the shadow, actually, like in Tibet, they use the yak dung to as fuel for the fires.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so that dung actually is the fire to melt that bliss.
Mm.
So it
Hmm.
that's another kind of metaphor that I thought was very beautiful at the time.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, we use that in the village when we're cooking. I mean, not all the time, but we also have use buff water buffalo dung as fuel, right? So in the
Mhm.
villages, they do that, right? But it's about using that fuel to grow, ignite, you know, wake
Mm.
up, those parts of ourselves that we had maybe hidden or thought they were shadow, but they were truly magnificent light, which we all are magnificent light. Every part of us is, but we've forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Exactly. And what the guides are kind of showing in the background is that also ignites what you call your gifts and talents, which is your natural
Mm.
state of being. Your natural state of being is naturally has a natural genius to it. And
Right,
so
absolutely.
that will ignite your genius, which is why sometimes these experiences can be so profound, because they do lead individuals on a path of enlightenment towards their divine self.
Yes, that is true. And
Yeah.
I like the way that you said that, because it's not necessarily, you know, uh, going to, you're suddenly going to be clairaudient, clairvoyant, and all that, those gifts, because people think of those gifts first and foremost, but it is about a catalyst to get you going on your spiritual path. I know that is what it was for me,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, again and again. So it's like it happens, there's a pattern here. But for me, that is what it's about, taking those shadow aspects, taking the trauma, taking the wounds, and using that as a catalyst for your growth, for your service work as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and they provide a deep sense of self too. Like they provide a real opening to a deep sense of self. And then gifts and talents that we talk about. I've never been a great fan of the word gifts and talents. 'Cause-
Same. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. But what we call gifts and talents, I think naturally switch on, or we find, modalities or courses that help us express our natural state of being and everything that we're naturally meant to do and be.
So like for example, for myself, my natural gift is communication, obviously, but
Mhm.
communication not just in words, but in frequency or in healing or etc. Right. So it's but I never would have thought that before I started doing this show back in 2013. Right. Before that, there's no way. I mean, I was the wallflower, right? I think I've talked about this before. I was the
Mm.
wallflower. I didn't talk. I didn't speak up. I used to stutter, like all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, why
Wow.
am I suddenly able to like talk so freely and like, without without any issues whatsoever and feel comfortable,
Yeah.
speaking, right?
Yeah.
So
I think you've just demonstrated what the kind of point is, that within the shadow is the light, and that
yeah,
your greatest gift actually is often in the in that which you feel is it is not, or in the experience that was your darkest.
yes.
Yeah.
I was not able to speak at one time. I was not able to express my opinions and views or say anything, kind of thing, right? So, and now it's like, you know what? The world is my oyster. I can say whatever I want, and it's all good, right? So, but you don't think about that when you're going through experiences or trauma, and you don't think that this is someday going to be a gift, right? So it's about living life, getting through our whatever's happening, our experiences, and then continuing to move in being authentically us, right? Being authentically you, and then seeing what opens up and what shows up.
Absolutely. That's right. 100%. Yeah. And it's authentic. And, I think you said it right at the beginning. It's authentically you to the best of your ability, or the best that you know yourself at the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because who I am now, who that I know I am now, is not the same person I was 20, 30, 40 years ago at all. Right. So it's somebody would say, "Oh, she's a walk-in." I'm not. I've just worked through my stuff. I've healed through my stuff. I've lived life. Um, wow, this has been fantastic. So, can we take some questions? I forgot to mention at the beginning about taking questions, but I know we did before.
Yeah. No, taking questions is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%
So,
on.
but let's try and keep it to on topic, right? So, this is not a healing call per se, but it is about being authentically you, kind of thing, right? So, um, we'll see what shows up.
Okay,
Tina
sure.
C. Tina C. You want to unmute?
Hello.
C.
Um, I I'm really doing good at being my authentic self, I think. um, my thing is, okay, I lost my partner 3 years ago. His mom and I have not talked. And I think the reason I stay in this grief process is because I really would like to talk to her. But I have a fear to speak because his son did some really nasty things to me, and I sort of have fear of him. So I don't talk to her because I'm afraid to get him after me again. Is that really like, I just want to give her a hug and talk to her about her son and just, like share and be me. And, we were like family before. And now all of a sudden I'm just like, ever since he passed, I've been out of the picture. Any advice?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, tina ataya tarana ta isha titika akene titi tarana ashaka ake. So follow your heart. Na asa titi rana ashaki titika ake. If you want to speak to her, then speak to her. Tina a titi rana ashaka ake ake ne titi rana atai tia akane tia. And without fear of retribution from others. Tia ashana titi kirana ate tita akane titiara ake. For the fear of retribution is what's holding you back.
Yeah.
It's not, it is stopping the grief process from fully resolving, because you keep looping around this and keep thinking about it. So it's harder for you to go into that grief process and truly resolve. So you do have a choice. It's like choosing. It's choosing either
Yeah.
to have contact with her or not. And then once you've made the choice, laying the choice to rest, and allowing the grief process to process through the emotional body as well as through the physical and mental body. Yeah, but at the moment what's happening is because you're looping around it, you can't fully process the grief. So it's not so much not seeing her as stopping the grief, it's more that you're not making an absolute decision and following through on the decision that's stopping the grief process from fully processing. And it's going to take time. yeah, and if it doesn't, like if you do approach and it doesn't, and you do have do form a relationship again with her, keep listening to your heart. Does it feel good? Is it still the right thing? Because remember, things change, and so relationships do come and go. Even ones that have been really, really significant at a particular time, they can also have a time of completion, and that is also a grief process. But don't be frightened to not have a relationship with her if that is what your heart is calling
It
for.
shows up. She's really been great to my daughter, and she's like, we're about ready to have my daughter's having a baby soon, and she's like so happy, and like, oh, saying it's her granddaughter and all that, her great granddaughter, and like she's so good to her, and it brings up an unworthiness, I think, in me too, because what about me? What about me? I was here taking care and loving your son, and you don't look at me. And so I think I just have to jump off and just go for it and not let the fear, even if she doesn't see me, still just go and be the person I am and let it go so I can keep moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the essential message is listen to your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Tina. All right, we're going to go to Gurjeet. Gurjeet, you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you, first of all. I really loved the conversation and all the things that you shared about being seen and being visible and getting more light and looking at the dark aspect. But the struggle for me is being seen by my clients. So I feel like there's something stopping me or blocking me from being seen. What is it and what can I do about it?
What do you mean being seen by your clients? Like, how does it show up?
Yes, in terms of being seen as the solution to their issues, when they're looking at other options, why can't they see me as the most, the best option?
You mean they're a client of yours, but they're also looking at
they're
other
not a client
conditions?
of mine. It's the
Okay.
people who I serve.
I think they're potential clients and they're not choosing to work with
Yes.
Gurjeet.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the first thing to know is the potential clients that you are kind of aiming at as being potential clients. How do I put it? It's almost like you've nailed them as potential clients, and so their freedom of choice is they don't. There's not enough freedom of choice for them to choose because there are many light workers. This is channel, by the way. There are many light workers out there, and so many possibilities for individuals to choose. Everyone has a divine appointment with a particular individual or light worker. However, they also have that freedom of choice. And so while individuals are not stepping into your field for you to work with, is in part because you see them as meant to work with you, whereas they may not be meant to work with you. So really what we'd say is let go a little bit, soften, allow what comes to you to come to you. I mean, we're not saying don't make yourself visible or don't put yourself out. It's more soften the edges around the potential clients that you think are your potential clients. It's not coming through very clearly. And just if you need
I
clarification.
don't understand what soften the edges means. Could you be more clear about, like, how do I soften the edges?
Yeah, sure. So any stickiness that you have, I'm just going to allow frequency to come through that might just support you to have a small experience of it. So the stickiness that you have around your own heart, around your worthiness, let that soften, let that go. For you are worthy to receive the clients that are yours to receive. And know that when clients choose someone else, They're choosing what is right for them in the moment. And it doesn't mean that one day they may not be aligned for you, or that they may not turn up on your doorstep. But the big piece for you is to soften around feeling unworthy, or that on a mental level that they're meant to show up.
And anything I can do to shine my light or to increase my light, so that, you know, even I can soften if I know that, okay, my light is strong, I don't have to worry. Just,
Okay.
you know, what can I do for that?
Okay, so your light is strong. You have a huge light. It's really, really strong. Yeah?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's a pleasure. That's
Thank
a pleasure. And so
So-
the other part of that piece is like trusting that your light is strong, and that's enough. I mean, yeah. I mean, yes, you need ways that clients can find you, practical ways, but the energetic part, trust that your light is strong.
So there's nothing on my part that I need to do. Thank you.
There is a small piece. There is a small piece around how do you put it? I'm feeling worthy is the best words that are coming forward from the guides. But part of the process of trusting your light will unpack that anyway. That will resolve if you just trust that that light is shining bright.
Thank you. I get it. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Gurjeet. And that is relevant for a lot of people, actually. So I'm glad you asked that question, Gurjeet. Thank you. And, you know, it's trusting, it's allowing, and at the same time, it is knowing that you are worthy. And knowing you are worthy, not necessarily of clients per se, but knowing that you have all the gifts, talents within you to support your community, right? So there's nothing lacking within you. You have the gifts, qualities, talents within you to support whoever it is that you want to support. I think it's important in whatever way that they need, not what you think they need, but what they need, right? I mean, you know, we all go through little phases of that sometimes, you know, but you know, I think we all have to sometimes work on that worthiness piece. You know, we're worthy of love, we're worthy of abundance, we're worthy of shining our light, you know, etc. Right? So that's definitely a piece for all of us.
Thank you so much. And anything that can be done for the worthiness, because I know I'm worthy. What do I do to feel that I'm worthy? Like, what's the missing?
Yeah, I think it was spoken, which is trust that you have the capacity to do the work for your clients 100%. Yeah, that you have the tools, you have the capacity. You really just have to be who you are with them, and things will come through.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go to Tanya. Tanya, you want to unmute? Yes. No. Maybe so.
Sorry, lost the page. Hello,
okay.
everyone. Thank you. While you were talking, I was thinking, so who I am really? And I actually liked myself more when I was a child because I was fearless and daring. And I have a lot of qualities still that I used to have, but I'm somewhat not as fearless and daring. And I think this, I don't know, I wouldn't say fear of being myself. It's probably, as I was mentioned before, trust issue and maybe self-love issue. So what would it take for me to become again fearless and daring?
Okay. Would you say you like, if we don't compare it to, this is the guide, if we say that if you don't compare yourself to how you were as a child, would you say you have courage?
Well, I have to have courage because the life is make you courageous, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
don't mean that courage. I mean, like, I wanted to get something, and I would just go to get that thing. I wanted to do something, and I know I probably had more energy then, but it was a kind of different, like, joyful flow, which I don't feel now.
I'm going to let the guides come through fully. Tina ati tiarana ashate tiarana ata. Okay. Okay, my dear. Tina ati tiarana ashaka tiarana aka netia. Sometimes as we move through life, there are experiences that can weigh us down. And then there are experiences that can bring us joy. And that inner light is always there. And it's always there to touch in on. And within that space of your inner light is that joy. And sometimes we forget to take moments of time to spend with ourselves.
Yes.
And experience and re-experience that state of joy.
Yes. I just don't have time for myself, probably.
So we
Or
would
maybe I
encourage
think that I don't have time for myself. I always find something else to do.
yeah. So we would encourage you to take time, moments through the day, even if they're very brief, to tune into that inner light within. And to tune into that joy, that fearlessness, that love of life that you
Yes.
naturally carry.
I have it a lot, but it is somewhere deep inside.
There's
Yes,
always time for that.
Take
Yes,
the
thank
time
you
for it.
so much, Catherine. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. I love you all.
And
God.
play your music. You love music, so play
Yes,
music.
exactly. I don't remember when it was last time I played music for myself, and I took
Forget
violin.
the past. Forget the past. This weekend is coming up. Take a few minutes and play some music.
Unpacking boxes, Laura. You won't believe it.
You can still take some time to play some music or do something
Yes,
joyful or
sure.
connect within for a few minutes.
I
Don't make
promise you I will do
excuses.
that. I
Yeah,
will
don't make
dance even.
excuses. Good, even
Thank
better.
you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Okay.
And the thing is, what Tanya was just sharing is like, yes, we are all busy. We all have stuff to do, but there are some things that, we require. And moments of joy, moments of peace, moments of going within to ourselves. That's not if I have time. It's a necessity in order for us to be fearless, be courageous, be authentic, etc. Right?
Absolutely. It's beautiful message that you've enabled the guides to bring through for everyone. Thank you.
But sometimes it's just, start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes, just do that for a few days, and then 10 minutes, and then, etc. And then keep moving. Okay. Not gonna harp on you, Tanya. I'm not gonna beat you up about it. Just do the best you can. Linda says, since we carry galactic and multidimensional aspects within us, as we ascend and expand within ourselves, do those galactic and multidimensional aspects shift to greater expansion in their expression as well? I guess I'm asking if our galactic multidimensional blueprint breaks the mold of what once was and evolved to something brand new.
Okay. So the simple answer to the question is yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. So as you, and then Toth is coming through, as you expand into your multidimensionality, into your galactic self, which really you all are, you're all multidimensional, you're all galactic, and expansion into it simply means occupying that space or becoming aware that you occupy that space. And yes, as you do so, your sense of self is going to expand. It's going to deepen. It can't not. And yes, as you do so, the expression of that, of yourself on the Earth star may feel and look different. It may not. It will still carry the same essence of what you're here to be and do. So whether you're doing it from an experience of body, feeling, mind, like human experience, or whether you're doing it from a galactic experience, a divine experience, a multidimensional experience, it will carry that essence, because the essence of who you are is always going to be the essence of who you are. So the simple answer to your question is yes. And the other simple answer to the question of will the galactic multidimensional blueprint break the mold of once was and evolve to something brand new? So essentially, yes. And so when we read that and kind of tune into what we think you mean by that, our sense is that what you're asking is, does it break those illusion lies? Those old patterns that have been created through the experience of many, where their experience was, we're going to say, dumbed down to body, feelings, mind, to what you often call a human experience. So yes, expanding into your multidimensional galactic self will absolutely break the mold. That is not the true you.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. Oh. Wow. Yeah. And the thing is, as we are evolving, and I'm not talking about our personality self or 3D self, but our core essence self, who is covered in all these different veils, right? Whether it's here or whether it's galactic selves, the more we expand, the more that the light is able to shine more brightly and clearly, because that is what we are, whether it's multidimensionally or 3D. I mean, like here on Earth kind of thing. So for me, I cannot separate between, or I cannot separate between the multidimensional self and this self. It's all one. So that's why I'm having a hard time with that question, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, it is absolutely all one.
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, the present moment is now is infinite. We are all living in a moment that is an ever-ending now moment, and always has been. So we're all living as the primordial field, as all of this in each moment. So yes, yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's hard to wrap our heads around it when we're going through trauma of some sort or some experience, but when we can, be a little bit still, we can remember, oh yeah, you know what, this is just a small little blip in the grand design of things. And if I look at the big picture, let me just look at the big picture, and I mean, easier to say that when I'm in this moment when nothing's happening than it would be when I'm going through something.
Right.
Goodness.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
But for those of us, who have had, and a lot of us here in the community have had challenging lifetimes, we'll say, like this lifetime, has been challenging for a lot of people. For me, what that means is that, where you are now, through all the different challenges and situations and experiences, it just shows how much you have grown, or how much you have been willing to let go of and release and purge, so that your true authentic light can be visible for all to see, including yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah.
Sometimes I try to make sense of, there's a reason for all the all the stuff that happens, right? All the stuff that we go through. There's a reason for it. But it is about us remembering and knowing who we are. That is what it all comes down to, regardless of what, for me, whenever we have these challenging experiences, it always comes back to remember who you are. It brings me back to me. And that's why I have no regrets. I always say this, I have no regrets, regardless of what happened. I would do it all again, because it's bringing me back to me, to who I am truly at my core essence, and to, God, Goddess, universe, that relationship. And so for me, that's the key in all of it. That brings you back to you and allows you to be authentically visible in the world and as the world itself, right?
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Yeah. 100%.
See, I have no problem talking.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I want to take a few minutes to talk about the packages. So I'm just going to share my screen. One second, but I can only talk about these things on the show or when I'm doing a healing call or in my membership. My parents and my sisters, my siblings, they have no idea. Like I can't even talk to them about any of this because it's like it makes no sense to them. So your audience, your tribe, your community is where you can feel like you can be yourself, right?
It's a place where you get truly seen. Yeah, without the overlays or projections of others. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm so grateful for all of you for listening to me and allowing me to, share my views and have these wonderful calls with everybody. So I'm so grateful. So Catherine has 3 packages. Package A is a 90-minute masterclass, which will be coming up. We'll look at the dates in a second, stepping into the spotlight. Package B is a one-on-one alignment transmission 45-minute session. And package C is, of course, everything in package A and B. Right. So the 90-minute masterclass is coming up on November 6th.
That's
So,
November 6th. Yeah, November 5th, if you're in the
Oh, yes,
US.
I will change that. I will change that. November 5th, I will try and put the right
Yeah,
time.
it was meant. It should have had both the NZT time, the New Zealand time, and the Northern
I will
Hemisphere
look.
time.
I didn't see it, but I will look. Yeah. So I hope I get it right. All right. So go ahead if you want to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so this is it's a channeled 90-minute class where we will come together as a group, encourage individuals to bring at least like one focus around where they'd like to shift any fears they have around being visible and being or any fears around where they have actually just being yourself. And often it's good to bring it, like whether it's in a relationship or in terms of your career or in terms of being visible, in terms of what you need, in terms of rest time and holidays. And the guides will bring through we'll open a Stargate, which is normally how those groups operate. We'll bring through new frequencies and information around being authentically visible, new codes, some of which you had like a small experience of in this call, and really work to release that core fear that you are carrying around this particular issue.
Awesome. And so again, that's November. Jesus. November
It's November
5th in North America time. We'll figure out the time, but November 5th. So that's I don't know when.
It'll be kind of it'll be afternoon.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll be about this time. It'll be a couple of hours earlier than this. 3 hours earlier than where we are now.
Yeah, so probably 2 p.m. Eastern-ish, but I will double check and get back to you. So that is happening, and that's package A. And then package B is a 45-minute one-on-one alignment transmission. So that is not kind of like what we did today, but that is more of a personal one-on-one session, right?
That's right. It's a personal one-on-one session where we'll work with kind of aligning you in the way that you most desire. So again, just bringing one core issue, and we'll work with alignment around that. And we'll have a bit of time after the 45 minutes for you to reflect and integrate.
Okay, awesome. And so that's package B, and then package C is package A and package B together. Okay, so please do check those out. There are payment plans available for packages B and C. Check out the wonderful testimonials and feedback as well on the page that people, from people who have worked with Catherine in the past. So package B and C, payment plans are available. And of course, for all 3 packages, if you're an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code. Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine.
It's a pleasure.
So I will update the page with the proper timing for North America. I can figure it out.
I would say that the group masterclasses can be very potent. Like the guides really do come through very strongly. So
yeah, and in the group masterclass, I mean, it's the guides are coming through. You're doing the light language and transmissions, of course, the frequency transmissions, of course, as well, which are going to help to dissolve some of those patterns and beliefs that are in the way of people being authentically them and being authentically visible, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. I obviously love talking about visibility, showing up, stepping up, and one of the things we talked about, or is those fears around stepping up, right? And those root core wounds around stepping up, which you had said, is about not being seen and truly, being seen by someone. And so, how can we this just coming through right now? How can we truly begin to see ourselves?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. Okay, so the first place is finding a place where you can either have it reflected to you, so with another, whether it's with a friend, a family member, a practitioner of some sort. So where someone is holding space for you, so that you can have who you are reflected back to you, and or where you can have the experience of being with yourself. Okay, so it's one of the keys is having an experience of being with yourself. Now that can also happen through meditation, through journaling, through reading, through walking in nature. But one of the key components of sitting with yourself or experiencing yourself through being with yourself is having some time or space in whatever way that creates a sense of calm where your nervous system can deregulate. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much we could say about that just in itself. And then by being with yourself, allow yourself to, well, there is opening your heart to yourself that will really support you to come to know who you are. And part of that process is also like another strand of that is being honest. So being truthful for what's arising within yourself, whether it's a fear or whether it's a recognition of your own potency, whatever is arising, allow the truth ray, and you can call in the truth ray, just ask for the truth ray to come in. It's a ray of light that has a particular color and a particular frequency. Allow that to shine on your soul. So that the truth unveils at the level of your soul or at the level of your divine light. For what you are not is the like thoughts and beliefs are often not what you truly are. So it's taking enough time to be with yourself and allow that which is showing itself to you, recognizing it, being with it, and allowing it to be. And then if there is insight or alignment that needs to happen from that which is being revealed, then you can ask for that from your guides. You can ask for that from reflections or from relationships of whatever you choose. And then allow yourself to deepen another level, another layer, go a little bit deeper, a little bit more, allowing that which is you to unfold. Now, we're giving you like a line in the hologram because there are so many different ways, so many possibilities. This is just one.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a starting point. It's a place where people can begin to really see themselves and be with themselves and know that they are love and light. And they truly know, not just intellectually know, theoretically know, but truly know that they are light and love. And I think once we all can do that a little bit more, and it's in pieces, and it's in phases, it's in stages. It's not going to happen all at once. So it's a practice and it's a process, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a practice and a process.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. I could stay on this call forever, but I have another one coming up, but any last words of
Yeah.
wisdom for us from your guides, from Toth, just around how we, this is the last question because it's just coming to
Yeah.
me. It's like how
Yeah.
we can just embody more of our higher self or soul.
Yeah, it's
I
interesting because I
guess
could feel
part
that.
of what you just said.
Yeah, no, I could feel that that was the next piece coming through from the guides. Okay. Tina a titi tika akane tita akane tia. As we know, we are coming to a place of completion. Tina a titi ara na ashika ake. Practical ways are meditation, taking space for yourself, walking in nature, those sorts of ways. Other kind of ways are ask to be connected to your higher self. Ask to have your heart open, ask to be connected to your guides, and know that in the process of asking, the next piece is choose. Simply choose. I choose to be deeply connected to my light. I choose to amplify my light. And in that process of choice, which is your magic wand on the Earth Star, that will enable the opening of your heart. It will enable the opening of your light. It will enable the opening of being deeply connected to yourself and to your guides and to us on the higher planes. And we are simply light and love, just like you. So, yeah, we will leave you with that piece. And we would also leave with you with love yourself. And we know that's a tall order, but it's one that will really serve you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Such a powerful call. So many powerful, powerful messages. I mean, I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but honestly, this was amazing. I think I said that last time you were here as well, Catherine, to be honest, but still, it's like it's so on point and it's so relevant and it's so needed. I mean, this is, being authentically visible or authentic visibility is not just about, you know, taking steps and to be visible on social media, for example. That's not it at all. It's about us being us with ease, being free to be us. And I think that piece is key also, the freedom to be us. And it comes from the choosing, like you said. Oh, this was amazing. I loved it. There's so much wisdom here, folks, so much wisdom. And of course, the frequencies that were shared and transmitted through this call, I'm sure you all could also perceive them as much as I did. And of course, the questions that I asked came up because we were all connected. There was no time and space. We're all connected. The guides were here. They created this beautiful space. We all created this beautiful space where we could all receive and we could feel free to be seen. We felt safe to be seen and heard, which I think is so valuable. What time is news? I don't know yet. I have to check. I don't know. I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern or 3 o'clock Eastern, but I will have to check. I don't know because I messed up today's call time. So, but thank you, Catherine, and thank you everybody for all your questions. Thank you, Catherine, and thank you to your guides as well for so much clarity, in and wisdom in the teachings. It's yep, it's good. It was great. I loved
Fantastic.
it. Obviously, I loved it. Yeah, I feel complete, so even though I said at some point when we were taking questions, it's not a healing call, but it actually was a healing call if you're willing to receive the healing of some of your own patterns, limiting beliefs, veils, if you're willing to allow them to lift, it's also a healing call as well. So you receive that healing. Right. So thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. And the guides say, Tina atata kia aka akane. Thank you. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you so much love and blessings. Oh, my God. Love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye for now.
Love you too.
Thank you, Linda.